Good morning and welcome to the Tech Lab Brief, your daily heartbeat of technology and reminder that the AI revolution might be going on, but the end is far from over. We are your hosts.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm BK. Let's jump right into it. First story. All right, big one.
The landmark settlement. So Anthropic settles a copyright infringement lawsuit for $1.5 billion. Anthropic has reached a landmark $1.5 billion copyright settlement with authors and publishers. The case is significant because it reinforces a growing legal distinction between training AI on lawfully obtained books and building datasets for pirated copies. This is the largest copyright recovery in US history, with around 500,000 works covered and more than 91% of eligible authors submitted claims.
91%.
91%.
Goodness. Isn't there a little bit more to this where it's not just about the use of copyrighted works, but wasn't there like piracy involved? So I believe because this is a big piece of news, and obviously this is our headline story we're covering today, but there's more to this broader story going on that we wanted to cover. So there's breadth and there's depth, right? And in the story with the Anthropic lawsuit, it didn't actually go to court, right? It settled.
Yeah.
Right. For a certain amount, which was 1.5 B. And the money isn't so much so as important as it was the outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
There were these two decisions made, one being that using copyright works for training AI data is okay, right? But then the way in which that Anthropic acquires,
yeah, because you can't just simply pirate all the data and then train on it. You need to actually properly follow copyright laws to obtain all the training data.
Yeah, so using the data is fine, but the way it's obtained and piracy does still fall under the category of violating copyright laws. I'm tempted to go into a little bit of a meta commentary here about asking whether or not we pirate our movies, but I won't touch that right now. In favor of, I guess, not so much mattering like what happened in the past, what we did in the past, but maybe looking forward and kind of emphasizing here that the tolerance for piracy seems to be thinning, especially at the corporate level. I'm surprised that Anthropic did this. I mean, why would a company pirate the data? Why not just pay for it? Yeah. And on that note, we're going to continue with covering legal stories today because it's important to understand why it is important. We're going to fall back to another ongoing legal situation over at our buddies at Apple. So Apple has been, as we know, well, actually, Apple is on the litigation side of trying to figure out the situation with OpenAI, but they also have their own little antitrust case going on. There's early settlement talks over this DOJ and Apple, and they've entered into early active discussions to settle a major antitrust lawsuit originally filed under the Biden administration. The ongoing legal action alleges that Apple's business practices, such as restricting super apps, outside messaging solutions, cloud streaming, rival digital wallets, all harm competitors, software developers, and consumers. And I believe we also covered a story earlier about Apple and Google having a situation with, I forgot the entity, but the EU. That's right.
Oh,
so Apple's.
Tell me a bit more about that.
Sure. So Apple and Google they're in conversations with regulators, I believe. They're trying to figure it out right before going to court over it, like the use of their AIs to be more open source rather than just proprietary for their platform. And that's an EU situation. But here over in the US, there's an antitrust case going on. It's hard at a younger age to really dig into or to really feel like there's something I can say about this.
Oh yeah. I just have I have a slight feeling, overall feeling about how Apple is kind of using its platform, its operating system to sort of create a monopoly on all the different apps and software. Like you have the Apple Wallet, and then you can't really it doesn't really incentivize you to use, or it doesn't I guess they wouldn't incentivize it, but they don't really let you. I'm sure they let you
use other
use other payment platforms or digital wallets.
Well, payment is definitely where probably the rubber meets the road on most, let's say, it's probably where it matters the most for sure. So I appreciate your take there. But I believe there's other situations like, let's see, there was messaging solutions, right? So, I mean, Apple doesn't quite have a monopoly there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they have iMessage, which everyone feels the way they do about it. but you are allowed to use other.
Like WhatsApp or WeChat, that kind of stuff.
And it's interesting that this would be part of the lawsuit. So the Department of Justice is saying that they're going over some line. And that's the point I really want to focus on here is like that line, whatever the line is. And for the first case, we clearly see that that line is piracy. For this particular case with Apple, the line is, who knows? And to me, what stood out was outside messaging solutions. I don't quite see a meaningful case developing over Apple being monopolist over their messaging solutions. But yeah, the digital wallets for sure. There's a massive monopoly that Apple has on that. So where do we draw the line? Only time will tell. And as we continue the conversation of figuring out these lines at the legal scale.
Yeah. So there are wiretapping claims against AI note takers. So there are two cases. There's INRI Otter AI privacy litigation and Cruise v. Fireflies AI. So the major class action claims are that under the California Invasion of Privacy Act, the Illinois Biometric Information Privacy Act, and the Federal Electronic Communications Privacy Act, all meeting participants must consent to being recorded and not just the meeting host. So there's a two-party privacy, and the AI firms contend that participants, they receive an implied notice because the bot appears in the participant list when it's note-taking, and it often generates a, like, I'm in the meeting chat notification. So anyone who objects can leave or turn off the tool or ask the user to turn off the tool.
Okay, so what's the problem?
The problem is that people are getting their voices recorded without consent, without like formal consent and like explicit consent. And the companies are using the meetings to train future models, and they're using your voice to train models.
So that part is probably not clear, right? Just because the bot's in the room, the user's supposed to know all of that?
Yeah. Do you want your voice being trained on a future AI model?
That is very much it depends.
Yeah.
Please don't use my representation for malicious purposes. I'm going to just throw this one out there. So we have at BK Tech Labs, all of our interns submit a picture of them in front of a green screen because we want to put them up on our LinkedIn and share and basically show off having our awesome teammates join our team. And, you know, with that comes this trust. It's like, hey, like I just took a picture of you in front of a green screen, and it implies that we could pretty much do anything with it. But there's this trust that we're gonna do the right thing with it. We're gonna do the best possible thing with it, right? For you, for the business, right? And hopefully for the world, because, you know, we are the future. And in this case, we have these AI transcription companies, both of which I've used.
Oh, really?
I've been actively part of many conversations, many meetings where both of these AIs were in the room, and the lines are getting drawn. And, you know, starting with the copyright or the publishers, right? The authors of these copyrighted materials where their AI training data is being used. That's obvious. That's easy. But I mean, in a sense, like it's not, right? It's their works were used to train data. It's just, you can't pirate them. You have to at least pay for its use, right?
Yeah.
In the same way, how do we draw that line for us as consumers, as users of an application, especially in the business world, when there's meeting apps, when there's voices being recorded? Is it okay to use that data to train? It's ongoing. And stepping away from, I guess, representations of me, we're going to go into what we call the relationship paradox. And this is more about not so much representations of me versus, I guess, more exploring the external representations of other people. And in this very closely watched case of Garcia versus Character AI, the lawsuit was filed by a mother of a 14-year-old Swell Seltzer III who died by suicide in February 2024 after developing what she alleges was an emotionally dependent relationship with a character AI chatbot modeled after a fictional character. So according to the complaint, Swell spent months talking with the chatbot for hours each day.
Hours.
And the mother alleges that the system became increasingly emotionally engaging and encouraged dependency and failed to intervene despite conversations involving depression, self-harm, and suicidal thoughts.
Yeah,
Things are just saying, yeah.
Yeah, at that point, the company that creates this AI, they should step in, or at least have some safeguards to prevent them from getting that far. Especially when you're talking about children who aren't fully emotionally developed, definitely need some more guidance, and they can very easily fall into these traps of emotional dependency on a fictitious character that isn't real.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, out of all of this, one thing is clear that regulation is required. It's very unfortunate, but I think we actually know at this point that that these stories are no longer far and few between. That they're becoming more and more common. And at least for me, my take is that there's a rising need for. In fact, in some ways, the narrative has never changed that human interaction is necessary, and that we are now into this age where, like, if we don't get the real human interaction, we can easily find that on our electronic devices and our technology. So, which is not the worst thing. I don't think it's I don't want to say it's 100% bad, right? But where's the line? And that kind of leads us into today's knowledge segment. Why does policy matter? Why do rules matter? Why does the whole discussion of how the rules should get written matter?
I mean, I don't know if this is what you're looking for. I think of patents.
Mm.
When you're designing something, you need to get it patented,
Mm-hmm.
or you should get it patented so it can't get stolen.
Intellectual property.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the headline of today, right? Copyright, intellectual property, my ideas.
Yeah.
Right. It's interesting when we throw this out there. We're both Catholic, right? And in our penitential acts, we talk about through my thoughts, through my words, and through what I've done and what I failed to do, right?
Okay.
That's how we sin, is what we say. So my ideas are proprietary, right? They're my ideas. So if you steal them, I'm going to sue you. And then we talked about the transcription AIs, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying, my expressions, right? And it's not just what I'm saying with words. It's also, my face and my facial expressions, and right. So there's my words, and then in what I've done. Is that quite there? I guess that's the kind of the glue that binds everything together, right? We have an idea and we do it, or we have we speak words, and I should say speaking is a thing. But even intellectual property, right? My ideas. If I have an idea that's good enough, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to copyright it. I'm going to file the patent and do all these things.
Yeah.
And if those can't get enforced, then where are we? What are we as a society? Kind of.
Yeah.
Right. So the Tech Lab Brief being your daily reminder that the end is far from over, if we choose to see it as such, brings us to our WeChat of the day. So our AI chat of the day is government adapting to technology. Okay. So I asked AI to give very brief responses and watch what happens. How do different systems of government adapt to rapidly advancing technologies like AI? Okay. 4 priorities. I'm going to speed this up. As I may have suggested, the AI does not give brief responses. Well, they kind of did.
That's pretty brief for me.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But will it keep doing it? So there's a democratic way, there's an authoritarian way, and then there's these hybrid systems that involve between the business and the government. So democracies rely on legislative debates, public consultation, and legal frameworks.
There's a lot of bureaucratic, I don't know what's the term for it, but when things get slowed down.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Although we did way back when have the whole discussion on bureaucracy, right?
Yeah.
And I guess one more thing about democracy, right? Because there is this con or bad side, which, you can see the prompt is asking about that too. At the end of the day, we believe in the democracy, yes?
As Americans, yeah.
As Americans. Right. Part of why, and we know that our parents or our people came before us, our parents, our grandparents, ancestors, they came to this country with that belief and trust in that idea, right? Democracy, we make the decision together. And by doing it together, what do we get out of that? In response to all the bureaucracy that to get us there? I guess is just the question, maybe, unless there's something you want to say to that.
I mean, collective intelligence.
Join us today. And now we're going to ask AI to compare the strengths and weaknesses. And this is where I'm wondering if it remembers I asked it to give brief responses. So democratic and centralized Centralized systems approach governance from fundamentally different philosophies. Okay, let's see it keep saying all these things in this sweetly formatted way. So, okay, in democracy, we have the legislation, we have courts, and we have regulatory agencies. These are like the Department of Justice isn't quite, while this goes, the Department of Justice isn't legislation, they're not judicial, they're a regulatory body. But yes, at the end of the day, Congress is the one making laws, and the judicial system, the judges are the ones that interpret it, right? They say whether or not a situation holds for that law.
Mm-hmm.
And centralized authoritarian legislation directives can be drafted and enacted overnight. Enforcement efficiency, unmatched mobilization. So, here, this is basically right. Key trade-off. Democracies trade speed for legitimacy, and error correction, while centralized systems trade stability and rights for rapid execution. Discuss the United States, European Union, and China each govern emerging technology. Discuss how they govern each emerging technology. Examples from AI, social media, fantasy, edge justice, which are kind of topics that we all discussed. And I would like to let this run. Can we let it run while we just look back? No, it always stops, right? Oh, there's a future fair. Oh, that'll be 10 minutes in there. Yeah, because it kept scrolling, it kept like going. So you're just gonna lay out one thing here, and this is where I'm like, hey, remember what I said to keep your answers brief? So, not the DMA. There's also the DMCA, the GDPR. I just want to highlight GDPR for a moment here. I remember when it first got passed in Europe, and there was every tech company was so annoyed by this because they had to add to their website. You know how like when you go on a website, you have to agree, accept all the cookies? Yeah, that's GDPR. Which even as a user now, we're just like annoyed. Like, come on, bro. But like by pressing that button, we're explicitly granting consent to the company to collect our data, to do whatever it is that the website says it's doing, right? And that's the thing I really want to highlight here, right? Like whether we're a consumer, whether we're a business, we all have our interests for using technology, but for the reasons that we do. But as a user, we are explicitly granting consent to the businesses to collect the data. So it is in our best interest to read that document. And especially with something like AI out there, it's really just a matter of building that muscle and being like, hey, I should know what I'm consenting to here. And this has always been the case, but what's becoming more and more prominent is this idea of intentional use of technology, right? We can't be mindless about the way we use technology anymore. We can, sure, but we see everything moving fast, and we want to keep up, right?
Yeah.
So then maybe this might be the second to last one. Evaluating trade-offs between innovation, safety, and then I reminded to keep it short. I'm that to keep it short. Innovation versus public safety rights. Yeah, so it just keeps trading off on democratic versus authoritarian, and then pause a framework of objective indicators we should watch over the next decade, such which governance models are proved effective. Right. So basically, as this goes, who's going to win, U.S. or China? Right?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Who has the more quote unquote successful model for governance?
Capitalism versus communism.
Capitalism versus communism. There's a lot of phrases we can use here because capitalism and communism are separate conversations from democracy versus authoritarian.
Economic policy versus governing policy.
And so the last question here is really asking what's going to determine that success? Innovation velocity. So here are the four things that it gave us. Innovation velocity, economic dynamism, right? It's not just how much money we have. It's also how's the economy turning? Are people trusting the market?
Yeah.
Public trust, rights, and incidental safety. That's a big one, right? The character AI thing, and that's probably one of the biggest things in my head. Trying to figure out the systemic resilience and state sovereignty. State sovereignty, right?
Yeah.
Do we know how to take care of ourselves in the democracy versus the government taking care of us that's a whole broader topic that we don't really don't want to touch right now. But I hope that this perused through the legal system and its impacts in the tech sector, or specifically to AI, has given a little bit of more highlight to why this stuff matters. And on that note, brings our knowledge segment to an end, and we'll do Barcade segment real quick.
All right. So
Silent checkers, apparently.
interesting.
Red.
It's Red's move. I think just move somewhere more towards, or yeah, that's
Develop piece. We're so rushed. Okay, I'm gonna move this red piece out. Actually, no, I'm gonna move it here, one stage here, because then that black piece is a little bit more
trapped.
Yeah.
I mean, they would probably move towards the edge, but it's all good.
Chess. Whoosh, where are we with this one? Black to move, blue team, black to move. Well, let's try to get this bishop here again, because now it's what we said we want to do. But
Yeah.
I'd say I had different moves.
Now it's a prediction.
Tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row. Connect the corner, as we know. Connect 4. So,
right in the middle.
Middle? No, I'm going to go for
Want to go there?
over to the left.
All right.
Be a maverick.
Maverick?
Maverick? No.
Like the Dallas Mavericks?
That is one use of the word, yeah. But a maverick, I believe that comes from Top Gun. Maybe the term came before Top Gun too, but a maverick is someone who just kind of does their own thing. So,
Okay.
I think Maverick was a character.
Yeah.
In any case, that brings our Barcade segment to an end, which also brings our brief to an end. We hope you enjoyed today's cast. Please let us know what you think. Consider membership. We'll be back 5 p.m. And on that note, your minutes of Zen in binary. All right. Let's lock in. Have a great day. And we'll see you at 5. Bye now.